October 5th, 2026, South Atlantic, platform PX-17. I knew something was off that night from the start. The sea was too calm, and the platform, usually a tangle of sounds and lights, was suspended in an almost supernatural silence. Above us, the PX-17 lights flickered, struggling to illuminate the vast black ocean around us. It was my night inspection. Just routine. Just me, the cold Atlantic wind, and, of course, my trusty clipboard. But that night, I wasn't alone. Mariana was there with me, trying to fix some issue with the security system. This girl, too young, full of energy and curiosity, always wanting to know more than she should. As she fiddled with the cables, I threw out a playful jab. "One day, Torres, you'll tap the wrong system and black out the entire platform." She just laughed, not looking up. "Relax, Mendonça, I bet you'd love to see that." But her smile faded fast. That's when a deep boom echoed through the air, reverberating through the steel structure of the platform. I felt the ground vibrate beneath my feet, as if something massive had landed just meters from us. At first, I thought it was a tank explosion, but then, suddenly there was a light. No, not just a light. A damned wall of light, appearing from nowhere, engulfing the platform, lighting up the sky as if it were daylight. I looked up, trying to understand, trying to find any logical explanation. But there, hovering above the platform, they were. Giant metal discs, like a cursed fleet of UFOs, each one with some sort of pulsing, vibrating light around its edges. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding as if it might burst. Mariana, beside me, took a step back, eyes fixed on the sky. "Carlos, what is that?" she whispered, and for the first time, I saw her completely at a loss. More than 20 ships in formation hovered above us, glowing with an intensity that didn't seem of this world. Seeing the discs hovering there was so absurd that, for a second, I really thought I was dreaming. But the echo of the boom still rang in my ears, and the vibration beneath my feet was far too real to be just a nightmare. The entire platform trembled, and that light was something I'd never seen before. Mariana seemed frozen, eyes wide, and I realized she was processing it just like I was. But we didn't have time for that. Those discs were here with a purpose, and it sure wasn't just to pay a visit. "Carlos, do you think they're here for the oil?" she finally managed to say, her voice laced with fear and sheer disbelief. "I don't know, Mariana, but they're not here to mess around." And then it happened. From one of the ships, right in the center of the formation, a red light began to pulse as if charging with energy. I knew deep down that something very bad was about to happen. And then, without warning, a beam of energy shot down from that ship, hitting the sea just meters from the platform. The water exploded into a plume of steam, like it had been struck by alien dynamite. The sound was deafening, and I felt the impact like a punch to the chest. "Holy shit!" Mariana screamed, grabbing my arm like her life depended on it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Those ships apparently had technology beyond anything we could even imagine. This attack wasn't a warning, it was a test. They wanted to see if the platform could withstand it, if we'd try anything. But I knew the next strike would be direct. "Run, Mariana." I grabbed her sleeve, and we took off across the steel walkway, our steps echoing as another explosion roared behind us. I glanced over my shoulder and saw more red lights igniting on the other ships. They were preparing to launch something far more destructive, and I had to think fast. "There has to be a way to contact base, Carlos," she shouted, nearly out of breath. "We need backup. Someone has to know about this." I already tried, but it seems they've blocked communications. These bastards have everything under control. In my mind, only one thing made sense. These ships weren't just here for the oil. They were willing to destroy anything in their path. It felt almost like vengeance or a warning to humanity. As we ran across the platform, heading towards the safety area, flashes of other attacks crossed my mind. It wasn't the first time I'd heard stories of strange ships in the sky or unexplainable lights near oil platforms. But I always thought it was fishermen spinning tales. This time, I was right in the middle of it. Suddenly, everything went silent. The air felt heavy, loaded with an invisible energy. A beam of blue light began descending from one of the ships, but this time, it didn't hit the water. It was coming straight for us, focused, deadly. like it knew exactly where we were. "Get down, Mariana!" I shoved her, and we hit the ground hard, feeling the heat of the energy pass right over us. The shockwave threw us a few meters, and I tasted metal in my mouth, a mix of blood and adrenaline. Mariana was gasping for breath, but she looked unharmed. "Those sons of bitches! They won't stop, Carlos. Not until they get what they want." Mariana and I were frozen, every cell in my body screaming that this thing shouldn't exist. But there it was, asserting its presence in a way that invaded our minds. At that moment, I understood that Earth's resources, which we exploited as if they were limitless, somehow had an owner. The shadowy figure kept staring at us, and the lights from the ships above pulsed in a frequency that seemed to have a pattern, a language of its own. The mental message, cold and calculating, returned. "You have violated the balance. All will be restored." The platform trembled harder. The discs began rotating in a synchronized pattern, forming a perfect circle in the sky. I saw that their goal was clear: destroy PX-17 and leave humanity a stark message. "Mariana," I whispered, pulling her away from that thing. "We only have one chance." She looked at me, eyes full of despair, but nodded, trusting whatever my plan was. We ran back to the control room. The gas was still spreading in the air. If we could trigger a big enough explosion, we might at least create a distraction, maybe even damage the smaller ships. With one last look, I adjusted the tank pressure to the maximum, setting off a chain reaction. I knew we were cornered, but if we were going down, we'd go down with a bang. Mariana and I hit the ground as I activated the detonation switch. The explosion was colossal. The entire platform shook as if it was splitting in half, and a wave of fire and gas filled the air, blinding everything within dozens of meters. I saw pieces of metal soaring through the sky, lit by the flames. Some of the smaller discs started to destabilize, shaking in the air like puppets with their strings cut. The shadowy figure vanished in the flames. The larger ships were still there, but they were pulling back, as if assessing the damage. For a moment, I felt like they were respecting us, or fearing us. The explosion wouldn't take them all down, but the message was clear. We'd fight to the end. The lights receded, one by one, like a grim symphony fading into the horizon. Within minutes, the night returned to silence, with only the embers of the platform lighting the sky. Mariana and I were alive, but we knew this was just the beginning.